Tango Movement Lab. I know this is not our regular day, but we did a little change only for this week. We're gonna be back to normal next week. So today, as you probably can tell from the title, we're gonna be dancing more, and we are going to have a focus. So it's not just dancing freely completely, but it's not going to be structured as exercises, drills, and or explorations in dance. It's going to be more dancey. So with no further ado, I'm going to put the music on, and I want us to start with a dance. Try to give yourself the focus of connecting the dots. So basically, finding the relationships or the progression, let's put it that way, between rebounds, walks, ochos, and boleos. So all of the nice things that we have been working on for quite some time. So let me put some music on, and I'm going to move you over to that side so you can see me a little bit better. Okay. Let's see. All right. No? Interesting. We have some interesting issues with these speakers. All right. No? Okay, fine. All right, perfect. So I'm just going to move you over, and we're going to get started. Just a little bit down, maybe. There we go. That's it. Oops. Okay, there we go. All right. And our music volume to take it a little bit higher. And we're ready to roll. Let's go. Okay, let's hit pause. Alrighty. So, oops, sorry. Let me reposition. So I want to share with you. Let's work with two elements. One, different kinds of steps, and then the second one, different kind of boleros. So, and you're probably familiar with them. So the only thing that I'm going to ask you to do is revisit them in how they match the music. So we're gonna stick with just using a couple of songs instead of going through like a whole playlist. So we become familiar with the different textures that every time the songs are the composer is suggesting to us, and then match those with the different types of steps and the different types of boleros that we can create. And of course, this is just, an exploration. You don't have to use all of them in one song, but we're gonna try and see how that works out. So here we go. So let's start with the steps. And of course, the one that where we have more shaping. So where you are, let's take the back step for example, because that gives us a lot more to work with. And you have the shaping of the step. So you have more work happening from the hip, from the pelvis and the hip joint. And then the upper body also responds. And you take a step back. And similarly, of course, you're going in the forward step. And you have more shaping, and you have the hips. And you have the hip joint. And you have the upper body, and you take a step. So this is, and the same thing, let's actually do it, why not? For a side step, where again, you have the extension, and here things do get tricky, because oftentimes, there we go, especially for the followers, you might want to embellish the side step, so you have that break in the ankle, which you need to adjust to a step. It's, for me, I think, when you are creating these lines, go ahead and shape them, but when you shift the weight, you need to allow for your weight not to go over the big toe. You can see it right away even from the video, what kind of alignment that creates between my foot, the ankle, and then the knee. So it puts the whole line into a jeopardizing position. So we want to be able to shape, but then we are very much aware of that embellished extension, so we want to actually realign before we shift the weight. So, and of course again, the shaping comes up in the body. So you have possibly a longer line, you might have a bent standing leg, or maybe not, and you have the upper body that is responding to help you and support you in that accented side, back, or forward step. So now let's go down to the knees. Notice that this is not probably the best of the outfits. So now we have smaller steps. Usually, we use them when we want to go a little bit faster. So now you have more of the knees. So let's do a couple of forward and back steps, going more, making the source of the movement more the psoas, so internal to your hip, and allowing for the knee to release forward like this. So not the quads, so you don't want to end up looking like you're marching. Instead, from the knees, from the hips, sorry. Tuck, tuck, release. If I come to you for a couple of reps, you might lose my feet, but it will focus on how the knees are reacting. I'm going from here, right? Tuck, 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 tuck. And notice how that has a much more flowy motion compared to this, which is more like a march. Of course, you know, if you want to accent the knees, you can also do that. So let's try a couple going forward and a couple going back, and try to create this wave. So your knee kicks forward slightly, but it's not because you're actually doing this. It's because you're doing this. It's like sitting back, a lot smaller than what I'm doing. I'm just exaggerating so you can see. Let's go. Let's do 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, and go forward. Tuck, tuck, and go back. Tuck, 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 tuck. Yes, one more time. Going forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, and go back. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now let's put it in a more tango perspective. So you can bring your arms up as a follower or as a leader, and it doesn't matter. But especially if you're working as a leader, notice how this immediately engages your body and allows you to go directly into that step without you doing this. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go back. 2, 3, 4. Go front. 2, 3, 4. Go back. 2, 3, 4. Now, make it tiny. Tiny. This baby squat. Make it tiny, but still feel it. Ready? Let's go. 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 4, 3, 2, 1. Go front, 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 and go back, 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 back. So you still feel this slight wave grounding with to the earth and releasing the free knee, but it's tiny. And now let's go further down, and we're gonna focus on the ankles, and this is especially helpful when you are doing really tiny steps or really tiny pivots. So settle in a 0-0 position, meaning that you're not 100% forward or projecting forward. And of course, you're not overcompensating for that and falling back. So you're somewhere in the middle. And now, allow for the knees to bend. Find that same hip and knee reaction and relationship. And go front, back, front, back, front, back, front, back. And notice that we don't have that much of movement, and we're staying within this zone. Let's go. So more, make your ankles work more. And front, back, front, back, front, back, front, back. Let's do the same, doing little pivots. 1, 2, 3, 4. Change. 1, 2, 3, 4. Change. 1, 2, 3, 4. Change. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, let's see. So, 1, shaping, full projection. 2, more from the knees, more like a gallopy, if we can put it that way, a walk, but really find the origins in the hips. And then more focusing on the ankles. So I'm going to put the same song on and try to see where you can use one versus the other. Let's go. And then we're going to change songs, just so you're not, it's not boring. Okay. So that's a little bit of a mind work. Let's do one more song. Change songs. I'm gonna completely change styles. 100, like a 190 degrees change, just so we can see in a very different song how that how we can play with that. Very different. Let's go. Oops.
Si tienes un hondo penal, piensa en mí. Si tienes ganas de llorar, piensa en mí. Ya ves que venero tu imagen divina. La boca que siendo tan niña me enseñó a pecar. piensa en mí. Cuando sufras, cuando llores, también piensa en mí. Cuando quieras quitarme la vida, no la quiero para nada, para nada me sirve sin ti. Piensa en mí cuando sufras, cuando llores, también piensa en mí. Cuando quieras quitarme la vida, no la quiero para nada, para nada me sirve sin ti. Piensa en mí cuando sufras, cuando llores, también piensa en mí. Cuando quieras quitarme la vida, para nada, para nada me sirve sin ti.
All right. Pause. So, oops. There. So we got to see it in a different context. And it's good, if you can spend some time just listening to the music, and different people will probably pick up different things. Not that you're off, that you can dance to whatever. There's always, there's always a pattern, there's always a beat. But you might hear something, different texture, something that you want to pick up. So it's always good to spend some time listening and spend some time exploring with movement, like we're doing now. So let's add on one extra element. This is probably more for followers, but leaders, I hope you'll follow along. So let's see. And of course, feel free to add more variations if you know them. I'm just going through the basics, the basic variations. So, boleros. It can be no flick. Because basically what a bolero is actually that you're changing your direction. You are going there, and then you're going here. So, if it's done properly, meaning on the right time, then you'll have pa-pa. Right? So you have the option of low. No flick whatsoever. Then you have the option of a low flick. And, sorry, let's correspond to the front, no flick, right? Or a low flick at the front, a little bit of a kick. Then at the back, you can have higher but very tight. So let me turn around so you can see what I mean. I mean this. So very tight. And I hope you're practicing this with me, so I'm not just going on by myself. The front, right, or low. So wrap around that's tight around the center. So very tight around the central axis. And then we have the bigger ones, the more grander ones. They can be low, right? And they can be high. And they correspond with all that shaping that we have been talking about. And at the front, you can also have, let me go that way, right? You can have a kick. You can also have a more expanded and slightly more juicy wraparound, like this. Maybe with a lift to come down. So, for our final song, let's play with all of these. Of course, you don't go through the whole song just doing boleros. Play with the steps that we have been talking about before, and see where you can add a few of these. Let's go. this brings our practice to a close. I hope you enjoyed it. And just to reiterate, my hello, hello, thank you. My The idea was to find different ways that we can explore the music and start understanding the music through movement. So it's not something that's, something that runs parallel, but it's something that comes together with our dance. So choose whichever song you like, whichever song you enjoy, and spend some time just listening to it, just trying to acknowledge the pauses, the different elements that each song has, the different textures, maybe if the timing is the same or if it's changing, all those different things that make an orchestra special. And then try to use movement to better understand it, to make it part of yourself. So, and this, of course, might look different between if you're comparing it to another dancer. However, it is very, very helpful and informative without trying to copy, to see how the big teachers and dancers of tango have explored the song, have expressed the song. So not to copy them, but also but also not to just to ignore them. And yeah, to look, seeing the comments, thank you, to also look for moments where something special is happening, and see if you can somehow express that thing that it makes that moment special. So, with all of that, I'll leave you to and hope that you're gonna keep on dancing. Things are starting to look closer to normal, so hopefully we will be on the dance floor soon. But stay safe, take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.